Well, thanks for having me here. I was the guy he socialized with. Phil and the Sorans and I were neighbors for many, many years in Eden Prairie. When I came here many years ago to take a lawyer job at Northwest Airlines, he moved here to be the branch manager for IBM. So I probably know a lot of things about Phil that a lot of his employees and others don't know, and they're all good, actually. And we ended up meeting, actually, I met his kids, Kevin and Diana, who are here tonight, who grew up with my kids before I met Phil and Margie. But when you think about what the most enlightening thing being here tonight was listening to each of the honorees and what each of the honorees said. And they had some really important themes when you think about it. And if you laid the remarks of each of the honorees down tonight, they would epitomize Phil, and they also give lessons to all of us who are here tonight. They talked about values first, family first, focusing on people, sharing profits, and taking chances basically on instinct. There weren't a lot of Harvard MBAs up here. And there's an important lesson in that. And the important lesson in that is there's a lot more to business, and I think the people that are the honorees, and knowing Phil as well as I know Phil, that really ring true being here tonight. And I think they're important lessons for all of us. Now, when Phil first asked me to have this honorary role, I thought it was for the first business he started, which was a house painting business on a motorcycle. Unfortunately, it was hard to carry paint gallons on a motorcycle, and there were several ugly incidents. He went on to become a very successful math teacher and stockbroker. But I do remember the Xiotech days, because before I ran an airline, I was a lawyer at an airline. I wasn't a very good lawyer, so I decided I better do something better. And I had the privilege of being the first lawyer for Xiotech in my spare time. And there were some really tough times. It was not easy. And Phil raised the money really in his car, going door to door with angel investors. And people really did take a bet on him. And of course, that bet paid off big time. And I remember those days in the basement. There was concrete floors and 2x4 walls with no sheetrock on them and a whiteboard. And it was really remarkable to see it move the way it moved, and the amount of risk that he took for his family, and how tough it was in those really early days before they really got enough funding to be able to develop their hardware products. And then that, of course, brought him to Compel It, which ended up being a lot easier because of all the success in Xiotech. But in the end, you have this fortunate opportunity in life that ends up being serendipitous, and we've all had it, and all of the honorees here tonight have had it. And in my case, it's being friends with Phil, because he epitomizes, I can speak not from a business standpoint, I can speak purely, I've never been in business with Phil. I've only been personally invested with Phil. And that personal investment's been one of the best investments I've ever made. He is a dear and loyal friend, and is someone you can always count on. And he always has good wine in his basement now. So that basement that was concrete with just it's got really good wine in it now. So it's reaped benefits. But in summary, I think he really epitomizes what I thought was both an inspiring and learning experience tonight for all of us to listen to these honorees. you sort of sat there and went, you know, it would have been fun to work for that guy or that woman, right? And he epitomizes, and it's appropriate that he is honored here tonight. Xiotech and Compellent are amazingly successful companies, and he is also an amazingly good citizen of the Twin Cities. So please join me in honoring Phil, my first and foremost dearest friend, but also a very deserving honoree tonight from the Twin Cities Business Journal. Thank you.
I'm a little nervous here tonight. I normally don't get nervous for these things, but Richard built me up a little higher than I normally am. I've been watching all night. Is this thing like right by my nose here? I mean, the two black microphones. On my comments here, the first things I said was it was really neat for me as an entrepreneur to get this recognition. I mean, I just kind of associate this with big businesses. But you see tonight, it was all the entrepreneurs getting recognized, and that meant a lot to me. So I'm sure it meant a lot to the other honorees, and it's great to hang with you guys and be in the same class of 2016. I'm gonna start to give some credits, and then I want to end it with a challenge for everyone in the audience here. So I'm receiving this award, you know, I'm standing up here alone, but I'm receiving this because I was on some great teams throughout my career. I mean, the teachers I taught with back in Colorado, the talent at IBM, some of the boards I've been on, the talent I've been on there, the men and women there, the two startups I had, we built some really great companies, and now I have a third startup called VidQ, which is just full of talent. So there's a lot of people that could be Hall of Fame inductees. I just get to represent them tonight. So thank you everyone for did that. My co-founders at Xiotech were the talented engineering duo of John Geider and Larry Asman. And we started two companies in a basement in Eden Prairie. You know, while our competition in Silicon Valley was starting in the garage, in Minnesota, if you start in the garage, you might die of death, of freezing. So we went down to the basement. That shows you right there, we're smart enough to know where to go. But we really did make quite a huge impact on the storage industry, and I just got to thank John and Larry. It was quite a 16-year ride with those two guys. And I'm told one of my strengths is actually getting a lot of diverse personalities to work together. And I'll tell you, in these three companies, there's a lot of personalities to bring together. But we built some awesome teams in finance and sales and co-pilot support and engineering. I mean, just across the board, we had the top talents. And I have a few key Compellent players here tonight. Got my CFO, Jack Judd. He got off the golf course about 12 minutes ago and got here for my speech. My VP of Sales, Brian Bell, who's since gone to Stardom at Sport Engine. And some board members, Charles Beeler, who's my initial investor, and lead directors, Sven Wehrwein, Sherman Black. Wow, we had an amazing team at Compellent, and I wish you could meet everybody on that team there. But each of my companies and corporate boards, I've had a lot of wisdom around me, and I've been on some boards, and I got a lot of those mentors that have helped me here tonight, both on my companies and other companies I'm working with. And you got to do it with other people. You don't do it with yourself. And I guess part of your skill is to listen when you do have that wisdom around you. But the lesson here is to hang with talents that are bigger than yourself. So let me tell you a fun Xiotech fundraising story. I thought it'd be all serious and just give thanks to everyone the whole time on your speech here. But this is a true story. It's 1995. Richard's right. We were driving around in my used car raising money. And we'd just come from a call on a potential angel investor. We're at the stoplight, and I turned to my partner, John, the engineer type, and I said, you've got to know at least one rich guy we could present our concept to. And John looked at me with the most serious look on his face, and he said, none that I'd introduce us to. So the lesson here is to leverage your different strengths of the team members. I was going to raise the money, they were going to lead the engineering effort. If we flipped the roles, we probably wouldn't be here tonight. A year ago, my two awesome VidQ co-founders, Jim Leslie and Dr. Charlie Miller, we met at our cabin to start a new company called VidQ. And we're working a plan right now to impact education in corporate America with a video-based, engaged learning platform for organizational development, education, training, and mentoring. And I'm just the executive chair. Jim and Charlie, these guys are awesome. They're doing all the hard work day to day, and I'm looking forward to making another big success out of that, you two guys. So the lesson I have for you, and it's kind of, Richard, you kind of touched on this a little bit with your representative. For an entrepreneur, it actually is the toughest spot to do business is Minnesota. So the 38th state we got one of our systems installed with was Minnesota. So we got in our backyard of our major competitor. I mean, it's tougher here. So I encourage all the people here in the audience to support the entrepreneurs. So afterwards, I'll be glad if you come up and give me some leads in corporate training, education, and how's that, Charlie and Jim? Is that good? Okay. So now the final credit, and then I'll get on to the challenge for you. It goes to my most important partner, my wife, Margie. I hope I don't get emotional here. For those of you who aren't clapping, you're going to clap after you hear this. But so this is 1995. You know, I'm starting in this basement with these two engineers that don't talk much and stuff like that, right? We have 4 kids, and their ages 6 to 13. And think of this here. I had 4 kids. We really didn't have any savings. We had college costs approaching if they get into college or whatever. We had your income is $0 per month for many, many months. It's kind of a scary thing. No normal wife would let their husband do this, but Margie never questioned the strategy. And we scraped by. This is a true story. We scraped by with her teaching piano lessons, and that's what we lived on for quite a while there. Well, the lesson here, and there's a lesson in all these little things here, is to marry Margie. I see a few wives pumping up there too. You know what I mean, don't you? Yeah. Well, I'm going to shift over to a personal challenge for everyone in the audience here. We talked about one of my strengths was building cultures, and I talked in the video about being positive, aggressive, and what that means. And I did a TED talk on it, but just in short, positive is about winning, or aggressive is about winning. We were the most aggressive people getting customer orders, going public on the New York Stock Exchange within 5 years of starting the company, trying to get the best prices from your vendors. But the positive side of it is about how you win. And I really think that, we won with class and character. And our customers, our vendors, our employees, people always said, you're just different to work with whenever they worked with us. And that's the kind of character that we wanted to do. And the Maya Angelou quote is, I think, epitomizes it. Just how do people feel after they've dealt with you? It describes it right away. Well, today we face a lot of world challenges here, economic, racial, political, social. And I kind of challenge each of you in the audience here to take a minute and adopt a personal positive aggressive strategy to these. Entrepreneurship is about taking risks, and take some. Talk to some people that are different than you, different ages, different income levels, different religions, different race, and different political beliefs. And talk does not mean saying hello or giving your one-way lecture telling why your idea is right. Walk the floor of your company and learn your employees' true life story. Get out of your neighborhood and come see an inner city school with me. Or share a meal with somebody very, very different than you. So your challenge is for these people that leave these conversations with you to remember how good you made them feel. So now for the final lesson, and I'll be done here. Be cool, teach school, then do your part and join a startup. Thank you, Twin Cities Business.